Hey YouTubers, welcome back to Get Your Wellies. Today I'm going to show you how to build a wicking tub. I grow my peppers in wicking tubs every year, have really good success. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. So before we start seeing what we need to make our wicking tub, why don't you get your wellies? Join me in the garden. Okay guys, let's take a look at the stuff we'll need here to build our wicking tub. So the first thing is the tub itself. This one I got from one of the big box stores. It was cheap, $6. These work great. Now I'm giving you a specific thing to work with here, but realize you can make wicking tubs out of any kind of tub you want. But these are cheap. If you buy them in other stores other than Walmart, they're going to be, some of them, quite a bit more expensive. But this one's cheap and it works just great. Next thing you'll need is some 1/2-inch PVC pipe. And this is what we're going to use in the bottom to hold water. So this is flex drain. This is available at Lowe's and at Home Depot. You can buy this in different lengths. If you're just making one tub, you only need a short piece like this. I think this is a 10 foot. Yep, 10 foot. And this is the 4-inch irrigation pipe. And it is the perforated. As you can see, it's got perforations in it, which helps with distribution of water in the tub. So I would recommend that one. Next thing we'll need is some kind of landscape fabric. This is what I use. I buy it in fairly long rolls. This was, I think, a 200-foot roll, but it's a little less expensive if you buy it in larger quantities. Again, if you're only going to make 1 or 2 tubs this year, then you don't necessarily need to get that much. Then I use some cable ties. You can always join those together. If yours are shorter and don't go all the way around, that's fine. I think these, I may have to put 2 together for this project. Then you'll need some 1.5-inch PVC pipe. I like to put a cap on the end of this. Once it's built and in the tub, I like to put these on just kind of loosely. Otherwise you get debris and potentially little critters or whatever getting in there. So I kind of like to have that on top. Then when you get ready to fill it, you're just gonna take that off and fill it with your hose pipe. Real easy. There's a few tools that you'll need. So I use a drill, and I like to use these step drill bits because it's just easier to get things tight and I don't have to know the exact measurement when I drill the hole. You could measure that and just get the right size bit, but those are super easy to use, cheap at Harbor Freight. You'll need a knife, you'll need a pair of pliers, and a ruler and a marker is kind of useful to have. To cut the pipe, you'll need a hacksaw, some kind of handsaw, or if you have a miter saw, that's actually the best thing. If you have a way of cutting it with a miter saw or a PVC cutter, that's actually the best thing. But you'll need all of those to start off. All right, let's get into the build. Okay, so the first thing, as we've already discussed, we're going to use 4-inch irrigation pipe for the reservoir in our bucket here in our tub. And so since we're using a 4-inch pipe, we're going to actually put the overflow drain at approximately 3 inches. So I'm just going to put a mark on here, and I'm going to take the step drill and drill that hole in there. Now before we drill our hole, I went ahead and cut a piece of my 1/2 inch PVC. I cut it at 5 inches, but really 4 to 6 inches, anywhere in there is fine. And this way we can check on the size of the hole as we go. So I would go ahead and cut your PVC 1/2 inch first. And here's Chrissy wanting to help, of course. She's got her little scarf on here, her vegetable scarf. Okay guys, so we drilled this hole out to 7/8 of an inch, and that's actually perfect. So if that helps any, 7/8 for your 1/2 inch PVC pipe. Now here on the inside, you'll see it protrudes out a little ways, and this is where we need to introduce that into the irrigation pipe. So the next phase is to cut our pipe to fit in the bottom of this. What's going to happen is we'll have one piece in the middle, then there'll be a shorter piece on this side and a shorter piece on this side. Now the easiest way to get the dimensions for that is to flip your bucket over and then take your irrigation pipe and measure it off on there. Now I actually have a short piece of pipe from a previous project, but you can see if you hold this to the edge of the bucket, you can see where you want to cut it. Come over to this side and make your mark here, which you can either just do with a pen, or you can put your knife into this perforation here and just start cutting around. So I'll give you a second to do that, and let's get the first one of those made. So I've cut this to size, and as you can see, when you line it up in the center of the tub, it should fit pretty well. Let's flip it over and see if it fits on the inside. Yeah, that's good. If anything, it could have even been a little bit longer, but that's okay. So we're going to measure these two side pieces the same way. Once you've cut them to size, we just need to see if they're going to fit in there okay. So we're going to turn it upside down again. So there they are. This does not have to be exact. You're going to cover the ends of these pipes with some landscape fabric, and if you have them a little too short, it's actually okay. Now if they're too long, they're going to want to try and come further up the inside of the tub where they'll fit better, but even then, with the weight of the soil on top, it kind of compresses everything down. But this is almost perfect here now. So the next stage is to put some landscape fabric over the ends, and I'm going to do that by cutting some squares of fabric, and then I'm going to attach the fabric to the ends with the zip ties. So I'll show you that next. Okay guys, so now we've cut some squares of the landscape fabric out, and really if you do these 8 to 12 inch squares, that's actually plenty to get the ends of these irrigation pipes covered. So we have 6 ends to have to cover, so I've cut 6 pieces of the fabric out. So let's go ahead and put those on. Okay everyone, so let's go ahead and put these on. These were 11-inch long cable ties. These are too short to go all the way around the circumference of this pipe. You would probably need to buy something about 18 inches long. They're much cheaper to just buy them this way and join them together. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's put the first one on. This is where you feel like you need to be an octopus to do it, really. But we'll do the best we can. Just make sure you've got all of that tucked in properly. Tighten them up. And just take your pliers and snip those off. There we go. There's one end. So I'm going to work on the rest of these and I'll catch up with you in a minute. Hey guys, so now we have all of our ends done. The largest pipe, we need to put a hole at about 3 inches. This is where our overflow pipe is going to come out. So let's put those in there now. Okay, so here's our irrigation pipes all covered, and our overflow pipe goes in through the hole at the top of this pipe. So now when we fill this with water, it will go up to the level of this pipe before it runs out. So our reservoir will be up to approximately this level here. So now I've cut the hole in here, and this is where the bottom of that pipe is going to go. But what we really need to do to make sure the water runs out of there into the reservoir quickly, we don't need this end to be flat. So it's best to cut this off at an angle. So if you have a miter saw, that's the easiest way. If you have to do this with a hacksaw or handsaw of some kind, what I would do is cut into it down to about halfway and then cut in this way. So you basically take a piece out of this pipe right here. The miter saw is nicer because you're just going to set it to 45 degrees and have a nice angle here. So I'm going to go cut my pipe to length, and then I'm going to put an angle on the end with the miter saw. And when I did this with hand saws, that was the easiest way, just notch it. But that way when the water comes down the pipe, it's not going to just hit the bottom of the tub and take forever to fill up. You want it to be able to get through some amount of space there. The other thing is, whenever you cut this hole down in here, it needs to be big enough for the pipe to go through, and it's pretty flexible, as you can see, so that pipe will fit in pretty well. We also need to just put another piece of fabric over that when we put it in there, and I'll show you that when I put ours in. Now you can, like I said, you could put this hole anywhere. You could have this hole over here on the other side, but I will tell you, just as a little tip here, a couple of my wicking tubs, the earlier ones, I did that. I had the pipe going in on the opposite side over here somewhere, and the problem with that is that when you are up here with the hose pipe or nozzle trying to fill up your tub, the way you'll know it's full is that the overflow water will come out here. So you're looking for that to come out. Well, if you're standing over on this side, And guess what? You can't see the water coming out. So I like to put them over here, because now what I have is a top of my pipe here, and I can see easily, look down and see when my tub is full. So that's why I do it that way. Okay, so we're back with our pipe, which is now cut to length, and there's that 45-degree angle on the end. So I'm gonna see if that fits okay. You want it to be a little tight, and then I lean mine up pretty close to the side. And so that's perfect like that. Now, what I am gonna do is put another piece of fabric over the whole bottom of this, and it'll come up the sides a little bit too, because it's, as the soil goes in later, this is going to sink down in here. We don't want the soil to fill up our reservoir and take all the space of the water. So I'm going to cut a piece for that that's pretty big, and then I'm going to cut a hole in it that's where this will tightly fit through there to avoid water going past it and down into this pipe right here. So I'm going to cut that piece next, and I'll show you that. As you can see, I've cut a hole in that landscape fabric, so I'm going to slide all of this down till it's on top of our irrigation pipes down here. Not an exact science, but I kind of like to know. Mine all look pretty similar. I can kind of tell what's going on. I've had one that the mesh gave out at some point and had some soil going into the pipes, and you could tell because when the overflow happened, then there was soil coming out in the overflow water, so that one had to be redone. And you know, if you have them going for a few years, you're gonna find that every now and again you may have to rebuild one or rebuild part of one, which is okay, because a lot of times you're gonna renew soil every third year or so. That generally works pretty well. So there we have it. So this is actually ready to be filled with water, but first we're gonna need some soil. So what we're gonna do is, a couple of days after you see this video, there'll be another one coming out, and I'm going to talk to you about soil mixes and how to create a really good mix for this that will wick your water up. And we'll talk about that on the next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. I would appreciate your support by subscribing to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Share it if you've got some friends that may be interested in building one of these. That would be great. Until next time, thank you for visiting me at Get Your Wellies. You'll have a great day. Bye now.